Tom Shanahan from Spartan Mag. Last night in the Harvard press conference, the players and the coach talked about how they had never seen the defense that you guys threw at Harmony Turner. And I was just wondering if you could comment on that, but also about how you were prepared. The game plan had you prepared, and when the coach does come up with a game plan, how confident are you in it when you see it? You start working on it.
Yeah, I think with Harmony, I got to give her a lot of credit. She's a great player. Obviously, we've only played 2 Ivy League teams, and it's an honor to play different teams. She obviously is very talented on all levels. She can shoot from the 3, she can get her mid-range, and she can finish well at the rim. But our scout was just to kind of get under her and pressure her, and I think we did that. I think also our press kind of frustrated them a little bit, which helped, and coach's game plan was very specific, and we followed that. Nyla might have more to add to that, but overall she's a great player, but I think we defended her well.
Yeah, I think when it comes to every team, I think they all kind of have that feeling when they play us. You know, they haven't seen a defense like ours because the way we pressure is a bit unique. Like Darren said, Harmony's a great player, but I think we have some of the best defenders on this team, and that, you know, helps quite a bit with our coaches and their game plans. I mean, we trust them fully, and we just completely lock into whatever they tell us to do.
Next question. Stay here to the right.
Bob Sutton with the Associated Press. What do you think the biggest challenges are for your team in tomorrow's game?
Nyla, we'll start with you.
I would say tomorrow rebounding will probably be a really big thing on both ends. I think we can take advantage if we rebound offensively, and then, of course, rebounding on the defensive end is going to be huge because we can't just let them get second shots.
I think they're more of a guard-based team, and we have obviously great guards too, so I think it's going to be head-to-head with them. But I think overall I don't think they're like Harvard ready for our defense. I think our defense applies a lot of pressure, and they have great guards, but I think if we get under them and we stay poised in our stance, then we'll be good.
Next question in the room. Go ahead, Tom.
You know, you guys are from the Big Ten, a long ways from here, so I wouldn't expect you to know any of this history, but there's a lot of history in this arena, from Kay Yao coaching here and how it was the birth of basketball in the South. And you've seen, I don't know if you've seen the statues outside the arena. Just how much I know your focus is on the games, but how much have you been able to take in the historic setting you're playing in?
Honestly, it's just an honor. We're very grateful to be here. To be able to kind of experience these other areas and these universities is honestly just a privilege for us, and I think we're happy to – we try to see as much as we can, but we're in the gym a lot of the day, just try to prepare for the game. But it's really cool where the history goes, and especially with women's sports, just all the things that we can see around campus, and honestly, it's just really beautiful because it's a lot different than East Lansing. So,
yeah, I mean, I think we all have our moments where we just kind of take everything in and just make sure we're not taking these moments for granted. Obviously, we're not fully familiar with all the history, but I think the tournament itself is a big thing for everyone, and so we're just taking advantage of every moment that we get here.
Bob, over here to the right.
Yeah, how have you handled the road environments that you've been in throughout the season? And it seems like this is probably a little more intimate here than maybe some of those Big Ten arenas.
Nyla first.
I mean, we treat every floor like it's our home floor. You know, we always talk about protecting our home floor, and so we kind of go in with that mindset no matter where we are, and just stick together and lean on one another.
I think it's cool to play in these environments. It kind of reminds me of like Iowa, where in their arena it's bigger, but there's a big crowd, and Caitlin Clark obviously brought a lot of fans in, but to be in these more intimate arenas, it's just cool to be in this environment because it's also fun to shut the crowd up here once in a while. But it's just, again, an honor to play here, and we're very honored to play an ACC team in a great history-made area. So,
next question in the room, right over here to the right.
Dalton Shetler, MSU Radio. For both of you guys, the challenge and the opportunity in front of you where this could be the first Sweet 16 since 2009 in 16 years. How do you embrace that kind of opportunity that sits in front of you? What's the excitement level that goes into that? Nyla, we can start with you.
Yeah, I think you have to approach it with a sense of gratitude. You know, it's not an opportunity everyone gets. it's not an opportunity everyone's going to get. So I think we all feel really lucky, and I think we all love the challenge that it presents. You know, it's not going to be easy. We all know that, and I think what we've done over this past season has really prepared us for what's to come.
Yeah, I think just overall we've worked for these moments. There's 32 teams left, and we're one of the 32, so it's just, again, an honor to be a part of it. I think it's also cool to be the underdog. I mean, we're ranked lower than them, so to have an upset is obviously going to be super fun if we can do it, and honestly, it's just all under the excitement. It's so exciting to be here, and we're grateful to be here, and it's just we're ready to play.
Any other questions in the room? If not, I do have one for both of you. Since you play the guard position, NC State's top 3 scorers are obviously guards. What is unique about each one in the brief amount of time you've had to scout them?
Yeah, I think they're 3 versatile players. I think with all 3 of them, you have to guard them for all 3 levels. They can drive, they can shoot, they can hit the mid-range, but they also rebound, they come in and attack the rim. So we're just going to have to stay poised and, like I said earlier, stay in our stance and just be ready to expect everything from them because they do play guard-based.
Yeah, I would say, like you said, they're really unique. I think they're not a team with high assist numbers, but they're really efficient in their shooting, which I think is a unique thing in itself, and a lot of that comes from those 3 guards. So it's going to be kind of just dialing in on our defense and winning our one-on-one battles.
Yesterday after the game, we asked Grace about playing a physical game, and she just got a big smile on her face. You expect post players to enjoy a physical game, but as guards, do you enjoy a physical game as well, particularly the way you guys defend?
I think for me personally, I would say, yeah, a little bit, just because, you know, it allows you to kind of pressure and get under people a little more. So it definitely gives you a little bit more of an edge.
I would agree. I think it just makes you play better. Honestly, you got to expect contact in any basketball game you play. I mean, there's a lot of gritty teams out there, and we're gritty ourselves, and the toughness, a piece of that too, and making the contact makes you better. So definitely looking to push for the contact, but do it in a respectful way of you're here, I'm here, like let's battle. But yeah, definitely ready for that piece too.
I do have another question for you. Coach Freilich, what has she been able to do in 2 years? Obviously, she's the first to take Michigan State to back-to-back. Nyla, you've played for her before. I'm sure she's the same coach, but it's a little different level from both of your perspectives, one who's been here the whole time and one that transferred in. What have you seen from Coach Freilich?
Yeah, I think she's done tremendous things in the past 2 years. I'm very grateful to be a part of her staff and on her team. First year we didn't make it in the tournament, and we didn't do an NIT or any of that, so it was kind of weird not to have a tournament. But then she came in, swept us all under her feet, and took us all in, and we really appreciated that. And she's just so consistent. There's not another word to put for her. She puts her players first, and but also takes care of herself. She's a great mom. She brings her kids in with us. She does everything she needs to do as a coach outside of the court too, and I think that's what we all look up to her. But she's also very smart. She's a very intelligent coach. She knows the good game plan, and she just knows the way to do her job, and we're very grateful for that, and I'm very proud to play for her.
Yeah, it's definitely a big piece is the culture she builds. That takes you a lot further than all the basketball things. You know, you can have so much talent, but without culture, you're only going to get so far. And she's really good at being intentional about culture, and that's definitely helps. It helps keep the team together for one, and it helps keep everyone on the same page. And like I said earlier, like they come up with the game plans, and we trust it fully. Like we have no doubt when she puts a game plan in front of us, we're like, all right, this is what we're doing.
Anybody else? Yeah, Bob.
Yeah, Nyla, earlier you mentioned that a lot of things don't come easy, and you seem to be pleased by that. What motivates her? What is so appeasing about that part for your team?
I mean, we're just a team of competitors, you know. We want to compete night in and night out. No one wants to just, you know, walk their way through the tournament. Like, you want to earn everything you get.
Anybody else? If not, there are no Zoom questions. So, ladies, appreciate your time, and good luck tomorrow.
Thank you. Thanks
Take
for having
care.
us.
We'll have Coach Freilich in here at 1:45. No daughter with you this time? No, you just do that for postgame.
Just post game. I think she's at the park
she's
right
looking
now.
at.
She's
Of
having
course.
fun.
We'll continue our press conference with Coach Robin Freilich. Just a reminder, mute your cell phones and raise your hand if you have a question. We'll start with questions in the room. And please wait for the microphone if you would, please. Don't be shy. Go ahead, Tom. There you go.
Hey, Robin, Tom Shanahan for Spartan Mag. Both the coaches, the Harvard coaches and players talked about how they had never seen that defense before and that they had a hard time adjusting to it. And then obviously you see a lot of great players in the Big Ten. Can you just give us a little idea on how you come up with your game plans and that your players trusted it?
Every game plan takes a lot of time and intentionality, and I think it's a combination of, okay, how do we stay systematic and really key in on the most important things for the opponent. So with that, every team looks a little bit different, but we've got to be able to merge those, right? How do we guard and how do we stay in a system that we're confident in, and try to minimize the most important things. With Harvard, I shared this last night. It was really important for us to take away Turner's threes, guard her with multiple matchups, and do a good job kind of building pressure in layers.
Another question? Right here with Bob. Then we'll get you, Ernie.
Bob Sutton with the Associated Press. Is it your general inclination to use a pair of post players for the most part? NC State tends to be guard oriented, and is that generally what you do with your team this year?
We do both. I think we play segments of the game with, probably more of a true 4 and 5. We play segments of the game with 4 guards. I think it depends game to game, matchups. We track closely lineups, who's playing well. I think our team this year especially, we've had to pay really good attention to that. It's been a little bit game to game of which lineup is really been getting us on a roll. It's both, right? I think that you can have an advantage, and then there's things obviously you have to pay attention to when you're playing a 4 and a 5.
Ernie?
Coach, Wolfpack, Sports Radio. 12 teams in the Big Ten are in the tournament.
Yeah.
You played against great competition all year long. What team in the Big Ten reminds you of NC State in any kind of way? Have you played a team in that conference that reminds you the style, the size, or what have you?
We were talking about that a little bit as a staff this morning. I don't think there's a particular team. I think, NC State is, their guard play so good. But I think Ohio State, there's some resemblance, not necessarily off defensively, but offensively. So a little bit of overlap there. But, NC State is their own and a really good team.
Questions in the room? Back to Tom.
We a lot was made about how you wanted to get through that first round to get the team to confidence.
Yep.
I was surprised to hear the North Carolina State players saying the same thing. They're obviously a very experienced team.
Yeah.
Is that just part of having a mature program?
I think it's a big part of taking the game in front of you really seriously. At this time in the season, it's anybody playing is really good. Anybody playing is really dangerous. Anybody still playing is doing things really well. So you always say the most important game is the game in front of you. We say that all season long. And then when you get into March, there has to be an incredible intentionality behind the game in front of you, the possession in front of you, the details that go into that.
Coach, I have a question for you. You're talking about NC State's guards. Their top 3 scorers obviously are guards. You did a great job on Turner. What uniqueness do the 3 guards for NC State have as far as challenging to defend them?
They can score at all 3 levels, really creative, excellent at creating their own shots, They'll make tough shots. So, it's kind of like guarding three of her, which is a challenge in front of us. And, we obviously have a lot of respect for them.
Over here to the far left.
Your players talked a lot about your defense being unique. How would you describe the way you guys play on the defensive end?
And what I love is season to season, it's been a little bit different based on our personnel. A pretty cool stat, actually, Abby Knackfor shared this with me last night. We actually last night set the school record for steals in a season, which is done collectively. I think that's done as a group. We've had a number of people that have been, obviously very involved in that. But we build our system based on one of my favorite sayings that I always tell our team is, when in doubt, be aggressive. Sometimes it comes back to bite us, but I think it's a mentality and it's a way we play and it's a way we practice. It's built together. I think you can only really be disruptive as a unit. A player can only do so much, but 5 people moving together in disruption, can create chaos. And at our best, we've been able to do that. And not at our best, we've not done that, right? So it's so critical that 5 people are doing it together.
Kind of to piggyback off that, we talked with Grace yesterday after the game, and we talked about playing with physicality, and she had a big smile on her face. We asked your 2 guards here today about the same thing, and they had a smile on their face. Do you expect the physicality, especially on the defensive side, from all positions, which kind of plays off to what you said?
I love to say it's a big girls' game, and the further along you move, the bigger of a girls' game it gets, right? It's you got to be able to take contact, you've got to be able to hold your line. I love that. When we go through Big Ten play, I think the Big Ten is very physical, and it's you have to do it the right way. It's physicality with purpose. It's physicality with discipline. But yeah, it's a big girls' game.
Back over here to the right, Bob.
Do you have any particular recipe for road success, and how do you think your team has handled road environments throughout the season?
You have to play good basketball. You want to win on the road. I think you have to play really good basketball, and road experience. In the Big Ten, we play in front of sold-out crowds and packed environments and loud and all the things that make women's basketball so fun and at the platform it's on right now. So we were here. We saw a little bit of the game before us last night. This place is going to be rocking. It's going to be loud. It's going to be hot. And that's what this part of the season's about. I think, we're excited to be part of a time of women's basketball when people really care about it.
To the front here, Tom.
You mentioned earlier that you played at Davison. Wes was coaching at Chattanooga. How much different is he? How much is he the same? Does he remember you at all, or what?
Probably not. How is I don't know. I knew him being on the sideline. I mean, I think the things that are the same is Chattanooga was really good. They won the league. They were very dominant. They had great teams. So I think something that has translated over all this time is he's a great coach and been part of coaching a lot of great teams.
Do you remember how you did against Chattanooga?
Yeah, we lost. Yeah, they won the league every year I was there. Yeah, they'd play. The "Come On Ride That Train." Remember that song? Yeah, that would play over and over again. I remember that when they were there. But they won the league every year we were there. They had really good teams.
But you had big games, right? You had a big game.
I know. I mean, I wouldn't say that.
Over here to the right, Ernie.
Hey, Coach, last year I saw in the interview you talked about last year you were kind of happy to be in the tournament. And now that you played against North Carolina last year and South Carolina, and you were talking about the mindset coming into this tournament. So how do you feel about your team and their mentality with a chance to go to the Sweet 16?
Yeah. Well, so many things experience teaches you, and one of them is what it looks like, what it feels like, and what you want out of it. And I do think our mentality this year around was different, has been different. You're no longer excited to just be invited to the party. You want to do some, make some noise when you're at it. So the preparation's been good. I think we also have done a good job of savoring it, right? That was something we've talked about is, hey, I shared today with our team, very few people in their college career make the tournament and even less win in it. And so you have to pay attention to kind of the sacredness behind that, and then prepare with that, right? And not just be happy that it's happened, but, hey, we have this opportunity. How do we prepare in a way that really honors that?
Stay over here to the right.
Kind of along those lines, to be in year 2, the significance for you, the staff, the program, to get a NCAA tournament win, and what the opportunity is ahead, where it could be the first Sweet 16 in 16 years for Spartan women's basketball. If you could expand on what that opportunity is for this program.
I think you nailed it, Dalton. I didn't know the time or the years. You know, I've gotten asked a lot, like, did you expect this in your, second year at Michigan State? And I'm like, we just expect to get better, right? And I know that sounds so simple, but how do we approach a day, right? How do we approach a practice? How do we approach a film session? And how do we incrementally get better? And we talked about that with the 2 weeks between the Big Ten tournament and NCAA tournament. We talked about win the weight. Like, we're not going to become a brand new team, but we can become a better team. So the opportunity in front of us, right? I think that's what you're always working for, is opportunities, right? And creating new opportunities. And that's what we have in front of us. And today, we're going to go on the court and hope to get a little better. And tomorrow, give it our best.
Far left over here, Coach.
You've talked a lot about NC State's guards. Their forwards are young, but, what have you seen from them just on a film and what they're able to do?
Well, I mean, Hayes is a really good shooter and a rebounder and tough. And then their freshman, I don't want to say the name wrong, but she's really improved over the course of the season. I think she's been a big part of their team's development with her size and her ability to guard in the paint and be a big screen and roll for them. So it's they're a connected team. They have a lot of pieces and parts, and when you watch, so I do think their three guards' ability to make a play really stand out.
Any more questions in here? If not, Coach, you're free to get ready for practice.
All right.
Appreciate your time,
Thank you all.
Coach. Cold hands, warm heart. I just remind everybody in the room, please silence your cell phones. And if you have a question in here, raise your hand. We'll bring the microphone to you. If you're on Zoom and have a question, please use the raised hand function. Our student athletes here today from NC State, Zoe Brooks, Madison Hayes. Fire away from in the room if you're ready to start this press conference. Who has the first question? Over here to the left, Noah.
What did you guys learn from yesterday's game? Just kind of moving into tomorrow, just trying to, maybe avoid a slow start or something like that.
No matter who the team is, they're going to obviously come out and play their best basketball. Vermont played very well. They shot very well, as you guys could see yesterday. They hung around in the game till about 3 minutes left of the fourth quarter, which was pretty impressive. So just not taking anybody for granted.
Madison?
I mean, that's pretty much it. We can't come out lackadaisical. We have to make sure we come out and, give the first punch, and they did last night. And we just got to make sure we come out ready to play. Every team in this tournament is going to be a good team, no matter what conference they come from. So,
next question over here to the right, Ernie.
This is for both players. Zoe, and to possibly go to a Sweet 16 for the first 2 years of your career, what does that mean to you? And Madison, this will be your third possible trip to the Sweet 16 as a player in your career. What does that say about, your growth in this program overall?
Zoe, we'll start with you.
It's something I never really could have imagined. Last year going to a Final Four as a freshman was something that pretty much everybody dreams of. And then this year possibly going to the Sweet 16 again. It's just crazy, and I feel like we worked so hard to get here, and we deserve it more than anybody else.
Maddie?
I would just say that, obviously being a part of, the first Sweet 16 team and going to the Elite Eight, it was amazing. And, learning from, KJ, Elisa, Raina, and Kai, the super seniors that year, just learning from them. Even though I didn't play that much, I still learned a lot from them and how the program is and the culture, and it was so different. But it made me not even just a better basketball player, but a better person as well. And then, obviously, going to the Final Four last year with a different group, but we had that same chemistry, that same feel that we had when I first, got here. But now, still having that same chemistry, we still have the potential to go to the Sweet 16, Elite Eight, Final Four, all that.
Next question right here, Daniel.
This question's for Madison. The word that many people within this team like to use to describe you is the glue. Mm-hmm. Someone that can fill, any hole that is needed or rise to any challenge that the team needs. Mm-hmm. Do you kind of pride yourself on that sort of flexibility in your game?
I mean, yeah, it's good to be, versatile. I can guard 1 through 4. I mean, I could play 1 through 4, 1 through 5 even. But, just accepting, the position that's best for the team. Coach Moore put me to the side, asked me to play the 4. And, obviously when you've been playing a position so long, you want to stay in the position that you're comfortable with. And obviously going into playing the 4 and, taking that challenge that, girls are going to be bigger, but am I just going to lay down and just be like, I can't, bang with them, or I'm going to do what I'm supposed to do for my team. And, I feel like I've done a pretty good job in guarding, their 4 players, even though I'm undersized, but I'm going to continue to do that for my team and help us win.
Next question over here to the right, Bob.
Bob Sutton with the Associated Press. Madison, Sanaya has mentioned this the last couple of days about how important it is for her to go out the right way in this building. And now that moment is about to hit us here, what does that mean for you?
It means a lot. I've been here, I didn't come here my freshman year, but coming here for the last 4 years, making an impact on the seasons and stuff. I try not to think about it too much. This is my last time being in here. But, just worry more about the game. And then after we can have, the emotional piece and but I mean, I'm just here to win basketball games and, move on to the next round. But, obviously it can get really emotional for me. Obviously with the friendships that I've made here and the relationships that I've built, especially with the younger players, this is their last time being with us, not even our last time being with them, so.
Question on the front row here. Tom?
This is kind of a two-pronged question. Can you girls talk about the home court winning streak, the crowd support you get, and then also there's a lot of history in this arena. A lot of it predates you guys by a lot of years, even K-Yao.
Mm-hmm.
How much have you learned to appreciate the history in your time here, the statues outside? So kind of a two-pronged question.
Okay.
Madison, we'll start with you.
Okay.
And then we'll get Zoe.
Okay.
We'll get her.
I just didn't want to feel like I was taking over the
Oh,
thing.
no.
Okay.
It's your moment.
So the first question, I would say that, obviously this home floor, this arena, the crowd, I mean, it's a big factor for us, playing at home. Obviously, you can see that we've won how many games straight? 23?
20?
20?
What is it?
22? That's not a lot of teams can say they won 22 straight at home. And it's hard to do, and it's not something that's really easy because we're in a great conference. And now, coming into the NCAA tournament. But, it's just the culture that we built through this team and, like, the relationships, not even that we built as a team, but with the fans as well. They love us. They support us through, the hard times and the losses, but they always come and show out, and that's why I feel like, they're the best fans in the nation. So,
Zoe?
Like Maddie said, we have a great fan base. I feel like we have the best fan base in the country, and that definitely helps how we play. We win a lot here. It's important for us to keep the crowd entertained so that they keep coming back and selling out the arena. But we want to win every game no matter where it is. But I definitely think the fans play a big part in our wins.
What about the arena's history and learning about K-Yao?
I mean, Coach Moore emphasizes it a lot. I didn't really know much about it until I got here, and, like, the importance and, like, obviously having, like, the K-Yao Servant Leader Award, and just, talking to K-Yao's sister a lot when she comes to games, and just having that, that I kind of represent, like, the character that she kind of instilled into her players, and just, that's a real honor, and just trying to keep that legacy going, not only with just K-Yao, but now with Coach Moore's legacy here as well.
I have a question for both of you. Michigan State relishes playing a physical game.
Mm-hmm.
What did you learn playing in the Duke game in the regular season and the ACC that may help you accept some of that physicality when they're trying to defend you?
You want me to answer first?
Yeah,
Okay.
you go first, Maddie.
Okay.
Sorry.
Obviously with the Duke game, I mean, it was hard to rewatch. I watched the whole game after a couple days. And I think just for us, we can't, like I said, let them punch us in the mouth first. We got to be able to give that first punch and keep that going throughout the whole game. We can't just, do it for a quarter or like 2 quarters or even 3 because, fourth quarter is when usually everybody's trying to kick it into gear. But we have to have that the whole 4 quarters and be ready to play. And the physicality is going to come. So, fouls are not going to always be called, and we can't worry about that as much. We got to worry about our game and making shots, not looking for fouls. That's one of the biggest emphasis that I would say for us as a team. We got to keep building on, because that's something that we did in the Duke game a lot, was looking for fouls, and that kind of hurt us a little bit, just throwing up shots. But I think we're getting better, and that's what we have to instill in tomorrow's game.
Zoe?
Duke is a great defensive team. They definitely got after us both times we played them, not only, in the tournament, but when they came here, even though we came out with the win, they definitely were very physical. They got after us. They pressured us, forced a lot of turnovers. So I think that they definitely helped us become stronger. And, we have to understand that we're not always going to get the foul calls that we need, but just play through it.
Mm-hmm.
More questions in here? I do have one more for you, Maddie. Specifically, you talked about having to play in the post.
Yeah.
Sometimes undersized,
Mm-hmm.
but there's a mentality that you have to have as well. What is that dog mentality in you that allows you to compete against young ladies that are a little taller, maybe a little more physical than you are?
I mean, just like you said, having that dog mentality, like, you're not going to bully me the whole game, and I'm just that type of player, like, I'm going to make you work for whatever you're going to get. And if you want to keep coming in here, then I'm going to show you why you don't want to keep coming in here. And that's just, I mean, I just, I take that challenge personally, because now, like, teams are going to pick on me because I'm smaller, and that's fine. And, that's what they're supposed to do. But I just continuously, time and time again, show them why, you're not just going to keep, you're going to get a couple buckets here and there, but you're not going to get it all day. So I'm going to just give them what they're asking for, and hopefully they'll make a change, and I'm sure they'll make a change. And I'm very confident in myself. My team's confident in me to do my job. So, and the coaches as well. So I'm going to keep doing that.
Zoe,
Zoe, you did not do that. Sorry. You did not do that. Sorry.
I was going to ask you, Zoe, does some of that mentality seep over to the guards, but I guess you've answered the question.
Absolutely.
One more question over here, Ernie.
When do you feel like in the game that you feel like you have to take over the game in a way? When is it in your mindset? Is it a start? Do you feel like, hey, if Zaya's not going, I got to go? Or if Sanaya's not, going, I got to go? Or is it a feel, or in your mind, and when you start the game, you say, hey, I'm going from whatever it is, it is?
No, I'm on go from the beginning. It doesn't matter whose day it is. I'm just here to do everything I can to help the team win, whether that's facilitate, score, defend. I'm just trying to do everything I can. But definitely from the start of the game, I'm on go until the end.
Straight dog.
I have one more final question. I noticed a couple of times when things were tight, particularly in the second quarter, you guys were down. There was the huddle on the normal huddle, but then when you come back on the court, there's the players' huddle of just the 5 that are playing in that game. What are you trying to communicate there? What are you trying to accomplish in a second huddle before you start playing again? Madison, we'll start with you.
Just making sure, like, snapping back into reality. Vermont went on a huge run, and just not letting that moment, those runs, dictate how we play, and just making sure we go out there and ready to play. They're going to want to keep pushing. They're going to want to keep shooting the ball. We just have to stay through our game and don't let them, make us do things that we don't want to do. Just emphasizing that and making sure we're doing better on defense, because defense is what we were lacking in rebounding in the first half. And we ended up coming out really well in the, coming into halftime. So, I think just instilling that and just making sure, as leaders, we try to make sure that everybody is on the same page.
Yeah, and our players, we always make sure that we emphasize to stick together, whether we're losing or we're winning. If we're winning, not to let loose, because any team can come back, and if we're down, to stay together and keep fighting and playing hard.
Well, that's all we need, ladies. Great job. And Zoe, nice dog bark, by the way. Zoe and Madison, thank you.
Some of y'all just spend the night here or what?
That's right. It's cheaper than a hotel. They couldn't find a hotel.
That's for sure.
All right, we got Coach Westmore here for about 15 minutes or until you run out of questions, whichever comes first. So who wants to start out the press conference with Coach Moore? Over here to the left.
How much of the Michigan State-Harvard game did you use to scout versus what you used from previous Spartans games, films, prior to the tournament, and what stands out on with them on film?
Yeah, again, we had a couple of scouts put together of, probably 3 or 4 games each or something like that. And then watched the game yesterday. I'll be honest, I watched it in my office, for the most part, just watched it on TV. We had coaches down there trying to pick up any calls or anything maybe that you can catch when you're there live. But, yeah, I mean, what is it? Football coach said they are who we thought they are. I mean, again, the press is something you got to worry about. They do a great job applying pressure. They balanced. Got so many, several people out there that can take over a game. And, Van Sluten, somebody that we recruited out of high school. And so she actually visited here some unofficially, but so very familiar with her. And, again, well coached, play really hard, and again, you got to take care of the ball. They force turnovers. That's going to turn into offense for them. They're either going to get a layup or open 3, and so we're going to have to be, really smart and with our decision making and take care of the ball.
Next question. To the right.
Ernie Myers, Wolfpack Sports Radio. Coach, what team does this? You play in the ACC. They have 12 teams, and in the big from the Big Ten in the tournament. What team in the ACC do they remind you of? I asked the same coach that question when she was here.
Great, Ernie. Yeah, thanks, Ernie. Wait. I mean, I don't know. I haven't really sat down and thought about that. So you caught me off guard on that. Again, they just, there's not a ton of teams out there that press consistently like they do. So I don't know that I would draw a comparison really. Again, like I said, we're worried about that, worried about their post play. I mean, both their posts are averaging, 15, 16 points a game. And so with us being young inside, that's going to be a concern. I know Van Sluten yesterday drew 10 fouls. And so, they go inside to her, and she's really good at getting you to leave your feet and drawing contact. And then I thought, and I could butcher the names here, Halleck. Obviously she didn't have her better game yesterday, but we obviously seen a lot of film, so we know what she's capable of. Really quick and explosive off the bounce, can shoot the 3. So, but I don't know that I can really compare them to anybody. You got me on that one.
Over here to the left, Noah.
Yeah, what were you able to learn from yesterday's game, kind of moving into tomorrow?
Yeah, again, we've prepared for them, watched film on them before. So, what we've done the last couple of years is, since we have a little more time between our tournaments, once we find out who we're playing on that Sunday evening, we spend Monday and Tuesday preparing for possible opponents in the second game, and then we had a day off, and then we spent Thursday, Friday focusing on Vermont. So we had a little jump start on them. And like I said, they're what we've seen on film. I mean, they're super talented, play really hard, well coached. They press you, offensively. They're aggressive. They're getting post touches. They're getting you off the bounce. So really, again, those things that we had seen on film were pretty true yesterday as well. I don't think there was a whole lot of new things, but seeing it in person's always good too, though.
To the right here.
Hey, Coach. Tom Shanahan from Spartan Mag. Robin Frelick mentioned that, I don't know if you're aware of this, she mentioned that she played at Davidson when you were coaching at Chattanooga.
Oh,
I don't know if you remember her.
Oh,
And,
yeah.
and she said you were a good coach then and now.
Well, yeah, Robin. Yeah, I remember Robin. Well, to be honest, it kind of slipped my mind. But then when I thought about it, yeah, because obviously her last name's changed. But, yeah, very smart player. And, Davidson had some really good teams back in that period. And, but, yeah, that's pretty. For a minute, I thought, wow, she really moved up the ladder quick. But then after looking at it, 2004, okay, maybe it has been 20 years, So you kind of lose track there for a minute. But, yeah, it's a great accomplishment for her to be at, a Power 4 school like Michigan State. And she's done a heck of a job with it. And then one of her assistants, Dean Lockwood, was at Tennessee with Pat Summit for a long time. And with my, ties with her and with Chattanooga and Knoxville, all that, very familiar with Dean as well. So, they've done a heck of a job.
Another question for Coach? She did quickly point out, by the way, that they didn't win many games, Davidson against Chattanooga.
Yeah, well, it's a new era. We'll see.
You've mentioned the physicality that Michigan State likes to play with. Obviously, post players love that, but even their guards like to be physical. How do you allow your team or tell your team not to let that get to them, because not all fouls are going to be called?
Yeah, again, like I said, they're going to apply a lot of pressure, whether it's full court or half court. In the half court, they deny passes. They're going to pressure the ball, and they do a great job of rotating and helping each other. But you're right. You got to keep your composure and not let it get to you. And I think the best way, to be honest, to handle pressure is to attack it. You can't shy away from it. The same way with the press. You can't be satisfied with just getting the ball across half court. You got to try to score and make them pay for pressing. And in the half court, when they get up in you and applying that pressure, you got to take them, try to take them off the bounce and put the pressure back on them. So hopefully we can handle that. But again, they're turning people over at a great rate, and that's what they do really well.
Back here to the left.
Going off their pressure, how much are you able to draw from, playing Duke and the way that they play defense and use that as a learning tool kind of going into this game?
Yeah, Duke's another team that, especially in the half court, they apply great pressure, and, they also are great on the boards. And so, you could draw some comparison there between those two. And again, Duke, a lot of times with their press, they're more true man-to-man. This press that Michigan State runs, run and jump, I mean, they're flying around, they're doubling the ball, and then they're rotating up. So if somebody goes and traps, somebody else is rotating up, looking to make us play on the ball. So I just think, again, the way they do it's a little different from a press perspective, but in the half court, very similar.
Back over here to Ernie.
Ernie,
he'll ask a better
I
question.
Hope this is better, Ernie.
Yeah. He won't stump you this time,
Put a lot of
Coach.
pressure on me, Coach.
This is better.
The time of the game tomorrow.
Yeah.
What it's a noon game. People are working, students are. Do you feel it has some type of lacking in the home court advantage because of the crowd and the people and the parking and here? Can you talk about that?
Yeah, again, it's all how you look at it. Tried to explain to our team today, hey, first semester we practice in the morning, so let's spin it that way. You're getting, we're starting 3 hours later than we normally start practice in first semester. It's a little frustrating because I know there'll be some people that are having to work, and it makes it hard for them to be here. I know I've ran into that in my situation. But a little bit, there's nothing we can do about it. So, just gotta, thankful to be at home and, hey, let's wake up in the morning and, let's get ready to play and, don't have to wait around all day. So that's good. Let's get after it. So.
I was in church and people were coming, hey, why is the game over?
Yeah. Unfortunately, we don't have anything to do with that. So it's all based on TV, and I guess maybe I'm not sexy enough. So They didn't want me in prime time, you know.
But you're on ESPN.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you.
Coach, you got two players that'll be manning the post that you probably had to have a conversation with this year that they're probably not playing their natural position. Even Madison talked a little bit about that earlier. You've got her playing the 4. She'd probably prefer to play the 3. You've got Trieger playing the 5. She would probably prefer 4 or 3. What were those conversations like to get them to accept those positions?
My goodness. We need to get some new local talent in here. My gosh, I hope you don't talk to them. You know, we play 4 guards. You know, Madison's not a four player. She's a guard. We play 4 guards. You choose whether you want to play 4 guards or if you want to play 3 guards and 2 posts. We're playing 4 guards, and that does mean sometimes she gets taken inside and they try to post her up. But, you know, Madison's, you know, she's a pretty physical girl and can handle that. As far as Tilda goes, you know, there's not a whole lot of 6'6" kids just laying around, you know. And so when you can get one, and in our situation, we had a need. So, you know, it's called team, Jeff. It's called a team. You do what's best for the team. But again, we still look for Tilda. She still has opportunities to shoot the 3 and keep her happy. And Madison definitely can shoot the 3. So I don't know. We've had in-depth conversations about it. But again, if I'm a player, I want to get on the court. So if that's the quickest way for me to get on the court, hey, Coach, I'll do it. So let's leave it at that, Jeff.
You got it, Coach. Can somebody bail me out, please? Over here.
You two. Why don't y'all just talk to me outside the room sometime? Okay?
Well, to sort of speak to that need, obviously, with Caitlin and Lizzie being stricken with injury, Tilda and Lorena have had to step up as freshmen. How have they sort of embraced that role early on in their collegiate careers?
Yeah, you know, again, I think Tilda's grown to, you know, accept it a little bit and sometimes even maybe savor it a little bit. I think she's doing fine down there. And I think both of them, you know, they're freshmen, so it's not ideal. I mean, I like veterans, but I also don't look at your driver's license. I'm going to base it on talent. And, you know, they were our best options, and I think they both have grown a lot. I owe that to my assistant coaches, Nikki West, Kevin Leatherwood, Kayla Jones, our GA. They work with our interior players, and I think they've done a heck of a job bringing them along, and they've grown up in a hurry. So, you know, I feel blessed to have them. Don't know where we'd be without them right now. So, but again, they're going, you know, Van Sluten's a junior, and then the other one's Arnault. A-Rock. Yeah, something. Yeah, number 40. You know, she's a grad student, so they're going against veterans, and so they'll have to, you know, try to play smart.
Any more questions for Coach? All right. You're out of here early. Thank you, Coach Moore.
Thank you.
Appreciate you, man.
That was a blast.
We can tell.